Welcome to tonight's presentation of the Pro Basketball Association. If you want pro, you want the PBA.
Welcome to yet another exciting installment of PBA basketball on Triangle by 1891, and we have a rematch of sorts between a game that went to overtime earlier this season between the BLTN Ballers and the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops. I'm Derek Tate, and we're moments away from opening tip. BLTN, the Ballers, are going to be in black jerseys, in orange trim and orange numbering. The starting five for them: number 1, Daniel Williams; number 7, Derek Williams; number 15, Stevie K; number 21, Dyron Anderson; and number 25, Spencer McElway. And for the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops, they are in the white jerseys with purple trim. Number 0, Eddie Sims; number 1, DK Eldridge; number 4, Jonathan Milligan; number 7, Cedric Harris; and number 35, Jason Humphrey are your starting five for the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops squad. And when these two teams faced off earlier this season, it was the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops that came away with the 1-point victory in overtime. As we are underway, and the opening tip is handled by the Just Hoops squad. And over on the left wing, it's Jonathan Milligan who pulls up and cans the elbow jumper from the left side. And Dallas-Fort Worth jumps out to an early 2-0 lead. We are just underway, and the first offensive possession for the Ballers. Dropping it down on the block, looking for Stevie K, who's working baseline. There's a baseline J that rattles in. Both squads start 1 of 1 from the field. Stevie K ties the game at 2-all in the opening minute of PBA action. On the left elbow now, pops it back out to DK Eldridge. He fires from downtown, just a little bit off the mark, but Cedric Harris able to get an extra possession for Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops. Eddie Sims comes up a little short, gets his own miss, and lays it up and in. And Fort Worth yet again jumps out to a 2-point lead. They're on top 4-2 as we are through the first minute of action here on this second matchup between these two squads. And Dyron Anderson, boy, a tough bucket. His left-handed layup goes. Both teams exchanging baskets early on. We're tied at 4 apiece. 8:42 and counting in the first quarter of this matchup. Jonathan Milligan, his pull-up jumper from the baseline. Both teams red hot. 3 of 4 from the field is Dallas-Fort Worth, as Milligan gives Just Hoops a 2-point lead, 6-4. Spencer McElway, and look at that, 3 for 3 from the field are the BLTN Ballers, as Ms. McElway gets on the board with a jump hook that goes off the glass. 6-6, 8-13 and counting. 0 for 2. The only person to miss a shot so far is DK Eldridge. And a little bit of a bang-bang play there on the top of your screen. It looks like Dallas-Fort Worth is going to retain possession. Both teams starting off pretty hot, have 3 field goals, and Eldridge still can't find the basket. He's got a lid on there. And finally, the loose ball is corralled by Stevie K. And here comes Williams, the alley. Whoopsie! Beautiful Spencer McElway with a McStuffin above the rim. He's got 4 points. And BLTN, the Ballers, take their first lead 8-6 with 7:45 remaining in the first quarter. And Eldridge finally able to find the bottom of the basket as his three-pointer is good. First 3-point bucket of this game. And Just Hoops retakes a 1-point lead, 9-8 with 7:30 and counting, as that entry pass from Williams is tipped out of bounds, and the Ballers will retain possession. Both teams executing very efficiently on the offensive side. And speaking of which, that's Daniel Williams, whose corner 3 is just a bit off the mark. And here comes the Just Hoops looking to add to their 1-point lead. Eldridge working off a screen from Jason Humphrey. Now it's Cedric Harris who pulls from the right corner. And it's back-to-back threes for Dallas-Fort Worth, and they open up the largest lead of the game, 12-8 over the Ballers. And trying to respond on the other end is Stevie K. His three-pointer is no good. Rebound is handled by Just Hoops. Into the lane, a little out of control, is Eddie Sims, Unfortunately, the strip and loose ball is unable to be handled by the Ballers. And Dallas-Fort Worth will look to capitalize. Just under 7 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Inbound pass goes to Eldridge, looking to add to their 4-point lead. He's backing down Anderson, and he gets into the lane and draws a foul as he tries to go into the turnaround into the lane, and he'll go to the line to shoot a pair. He's got 3 points, and in Just Hoops' only victory, they're 1-2 on the season. Their one win against this BLTN Baller squad as Eldridge knocks down his first free throw. He'll have one more as they open up a 5-point lead. Eldridge had a monster game. 18 points, 6 boards, 10 assists, and 3 steals, a double-double. As he knocks down a pair, he leads all scorers with 5 points. 14-8, Just Hoops on top. And Anderson tries to get it back on the other end, and Eddie Sims gets a piece of that. Forces the turnover, and Sims brings it across the midcourt stripe. 6-point lead, and his pass just a bit too hot to handle for a cutting Jason Humphrey in the turnover. As the Ballers needed that on the defensive end, it seems like everything is dropping for Just Hoops. 6:20 and counting in the opening period. Ballers trail by 6. Anderson, back-to-back turnovers, outlet pass. Aldridge puts the stamp. An emphatic one-handed jam and an 8-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth, the largest of the game. Eldridge, after going 0 for 3 to start from the field, has now 7 points to lead all scorers. Looks like there's a little bit of extracurricular activity. That's going to send Stevie K to the line for what looks like a technical. And if you're the Dallas-Fort Worth head coach, can't be happy about that, although it does not cost them any points on the scoreboard as Stevie K's free throw attempt comes up a bit short on the front iron, but they will retain possession and look to dip into this 8-point deficit that they actually took an 8-6 lead very briefly until Eldridge knocked down a three-pointer. And ever since, it has been a 10-0 run in favor of Just Hoops. And going baseline, that's Stevie K. He couldn't get the technical free throw to go, but that's his second down the left baseline. He's got 4 points. The Ballers trim that deficit down to 6. And that's Cedric Harris. His three-pointer again from that right wing is no good. And now running the floor is McElway. And look at the Euro step, and that's the second time he's gone glass with a little right-handed runner. He's got 6 points. The Ballers now trim the lead down to 4, but a quick answer on the other end as Cedric Harris is able to put home the easy 2-pointer. 6-point lead for Just Hoops as Stevie K is now at the top of the key. Now he swings it over to Williams. Williams looking for a screen from McElway, and there's a foul on the floor against Jason Humphrey. And to think, this showdown between these two squads earlier this season came down to a buzzer beater. It was Derek Williams of the Ballers who put up a shot at the buzzer and couldn't quite get it to go. Otherwise, it would be the Ballers who are 3-1 on the season, and instead they're looking to get back above 500 for the first time this season as Williams looks to take his man off the dribble, and that's a beautiful right-handed finish past William Ranson. Lead is now down to 4. It was all the way up to 8 points, but Just Hoops still clinging to a 4-point advantage. Ball finds its way down to the right baseline. Jumper is no good, and Williams snares the rebound. And sometimes a little bit better lucky than good. The bounce for TJ Williams goes right back to him. Now it's a 2-on-1 opportunity, and behind the back, Sims finds Eldridge for his second stamp with a one-handed punch. 9 points for DK Eldridge. 6-point lead for Just Hoops. Williams, oh, beautiful pocket pass, leading Daniel Williams right to the cup. 4 points for Williams. Both teams offensively very efficient in the opening quarter. We're just past the halfway mark at the 4-minute point remaining in the opening period. Dallas-Fort Worth with a now 7-point lead as Eddie Sims able to get wet from the splash zone a couple feet behind the three-point line. Anderson looks to answer, throws up a wild one, no good, gets his own miss, can't get that one to go. Sims with the board, and it's Dallas-Fort Worth who pushes the pace. And Sims able to drop it off, but there's a foul on the floor prior to the fast break pass that nearly ended in a Jonathan Milligan layup. And we'll have a timeout here on Triangle by 1891. It's Dallas-Fort Worth with a 23-16 advantage over the Ballers with 3:38 remaining in the opening period. So far, it's been a lot of DK Eldridge in this opening period. He leads all scorers with 9 points. On the other end, it's been a lot of Stevie K and Spencer McElway. Both teams efficient from the field to start this contest. As we know, their previous matchup did go the extra period, but still both teams dropped 120 points in that contest, so both of these teams can get buckets. As the inbound goes to DK Eldridge, and he hits it in from downtown. His second three-pointer. He's in double digits in the opening period with 12 points. 10-point lead for Just Hoops. And that's Ransom. Look at the effort from the big fella, able to poke the ball loose. And he nearly, it's possible that he was able to force a turnover. What effort from William Ransom. Out on the perimeter, poking the ball loose and giving an extra possession nearly for Just Hoops. But instead, the Ballers have their work cut out for him. A 10-point deficit here in the opening period as TJ Williams is on the right wing. Ball poked loose by DK Eldridge. It's the Ballers who will retain possession. And going to the bench is Dyron Anderson, and checking into the contest for the first time, Cortland Walton for the Ballers. 26-16. As it's a 10-point deficit and an extra possession off of the missed shot by Stevie K, and a second offering comes up empty as well, and Just Hoops looking to add to their 10-point lead. Ransom on the left block, picks up his dribble, now tries to find Harris back on the wing. Sims down to DK Eldridge. Eldridge backing down his man Williams. That one rattles in and out. Rebound goes McElway, and here come the Ballers. Out in front, finds Williams for a corner three. No good. Sims tries to sky for the rebound, and it looks like there's going to be a loose ball foul on the newly checked in Cortland Walton. And although the Ballers started 3 for 3 from the field, they have since met a little bit of resistance and have been turning the ball over. And the Just Hoops squad has capitalized mostly behind a fantastic opening quarter performance from DK Eldridge. They now have possession, just over 2 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Milligan swings it over to Eldridge. Eldridge's pass is broken up and stolen by Derek Williams, and a little bit of frustration foul there from William Ransom. Ballers retain possession but have their work cut out for them, trailing by 10. 2 minutes remaining in the opening period. It's been a fast-paced and action-packed opening quarter. And another turnover from this BLTN squad. So far, they have been unable to take care of the ball in the latter half of this opening period. And it's Eddie Sims who'll bring the ball across the midcourt stripe. Ransom shows a screen. It's a ghost screen. Now gets it over to Eldridge. Trapped in the left corner. He dribbles it back out to the wing. Eldridge looks like he tried to draw the foul on the three. His three-pointer comes up a bit short and goes over the backboard. Possession goes back to the Ballers. Eldridge leads all scorers with 12 points here in the opening period. 2 dunks, 2 three-pointers. Active first period. Dyron Anderson checks back in for BLTN. As the Ballers still trail by 10, they've gone 2+ minutes without a bucket from the field. And from the right baseline, Stevie K, his jumper is no good. Rebound snared by Sims. Just over a minute remaining. Milligan at the top of the key. Swings it to the newly checked in Javis Dave. Now, Ransom on the left block. Turns into McElway, and that's a big boy bucket with the right-handed jump hook. Ransom gets on the board, and it's the largest lead of the game for Dallas-Fort Worth. And that pass from Williams, a bit too hot to handle. Another turnover for the Ballers as Stevie K couldn't quite corral it in. 47 seconds left in the opening period. Largest lead of the game for Dallas-Fort Worth at 12 points. Eldridge on the left wing. Eldridge driving baseline. Now he's double teamed. Tries to drop it off to Ransom and turns it over. Good defense from the Ballers. They have numbers. Williams tries to find McElway. He handles the loose ball. That pass is stolen from Dade. Numbers for Dallas-Fort Worth, and a little left to right switch from Eddie Sims. He's got 5 points. And a 14-point lead for Just Hoops as Stevie K, his mid-range jumper from the elbow doesn't go. An extra possession turned up from some great work on the offensive glass, and finally a foul is going to be called, it looks like, against William Ransom, and that would be his second personal foul of this opening period. As we already see, BLTN trying to crash the offensive glass to gain some extra possessions, as they just cannot seem to get a bucket to go. All of a sudden there is a lid on top of that rim that has prevented the Ballers from scoring for the last 3 minutes, as there's 5 seconds remaining, and Spencer McElway steps up to the free throw line. As his first free throw is good, he's got 5 points and he'll have one more. McElway actually led the Ballers in scoring when these two teams previously met in the month of June. 22 points and 17 rebounds for McElway as his second goes in and out. Final seconds of the period, and it's Stevie K who lets one go from downtown. His comes up a little bit short, and that'll do it for the first period of action as Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops lead BLTN Ballers 30-17 as we have second quarter action here on Triangle by 1891 coming your way here in just a moment.
Whoa, personal foul.
What the feezy?
You can't use a beard trimmer below the 50-yard line. This is the waterproof lawnmower 4.0 by Manscaped.
What's the difference?
It's got new skin-safe technology to help reduce cuts and nicks. It's powerful, yet gentle, just like me.
Dog, I appreciate you. Woo. Hey, watch out. I'm not ticklish. Get yours at manscaped.com.
Tour be lit. First of all, to even be on tour, you gotta be one of the super duper flies.
People in Atlanta, they love Slutty Vegan, but like outside of Atlanta, it's crazy.
The adrenaline rush that you get from it is amazing.
We do celebrity events, casting calls, video shoots.
When they say it's fresh and ready to go, like it's fresh and ready to go. We do it all ourselves. No machines, no nothing. We literally just got flat tops, grills, and fryers.
Being on the road and being on tour specifically, it's like you're a celebrity.
Been to Boston, Tampa, Alabama a few times, North Carolina.
The fact that we are able to travel together is like a whole different relationship.
I like to call us like we're like Fast and Furious, right? Like it's, you know, we're on the road. We're not in expensive cars or muscle cars, but we're in a big giant yellow truck.
If somebody's got it and it's special and you see it and you want to work somewhere where you can just be yourself, this is the place. We make good tip money. You get to meet all types of people, and it's fun.
Back to action in just a moment. The BLTN Ballers have their work cut out for them if they want to try to get above 500 on the season, as they trail Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops by 13 points heading into the second period. So far, it's been a mixed bag of results for the Ballers this season. Starting their year off in the loss column, losing to Fort Worth Firm as that three-pointer is no good. Eldridge comes up with a rebound and tries to push the pace, now slows it down. Pass is tipped by Williams, and Williams stays with it, nearly able to save it out of bounds, or save it in bounds, but instead it's Just Hoops will retain possession. That opening period saw a fantastic performance from DK Eldridge for Dallas-Fort Worth. 12 points in the opening period. On the floor, newly checked in, Keonta Watkins for Just Hoops as Eldridge, his hot shooting continues. That mid-range jumper goes. He's got 14 points and a 15-point lead for Just Hoops. Ball finds its way back to Williams on the left wing. Ransom shows out on the screen. Williams goes up with the left hand. No good. Nice contest from Dade. And an outlet pass finds its way to Eldridge and nearly able to rise up and throw down his third stuff of the contest. But Dyron Anderson says, nah, you're going to have to go to the line and earn him the hard way. Eldridge will go to the line for the second time this evening. As mentioned, DK Eldridge was one of the driving forces behind Just Hoops' overtime win against the Ballers earlier this season, as he's now 3 of 3 from the free throw line. And that one rattles home. Excuse me, my apologies. He does go 2 for 2, 34-17, the largest lead of the game for Dallas-Fort Worth. Williams tries to go at Sims. Outlet pass goes to Eldridge, and he puts up the lob. Dade unable to put it home. And trailing three-pointer coming from Keonta Watkins. And Dade able to grab the offensive board and will go to the line. And Javis Dade was another big-time contributor in that overtime win against the Ballers earlier this season, recording a double-double, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Dade was unable to put home what would have been a beautiful lob pass from Eldridge. Just a little too hot to handle, and his first free throw comes up way short. He will have one more and look to stretch this into the largest lead of the evening for Just Hoops, as they have a 17-point advantage in the early parts of the second quarter. That's Dade, who goes 1 of 2 from the line. He is now on the box score. 18-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth, as Dade will go back to the bench. A little bit of confusion along the top of your screen. Maybe a substitution that came a little bit too late. Either way, 18-point deficit as Stevie K brings the ball across the midcourt line for the Ballers. Dyron Anderson dials it up from way beyond the three-point line. Comes up a bit short. Dade able to gather the defensive rebound. And here comes Just Hoops, and Eldridge. Transition three, no good. It seems like the only basket he's missed since the first three he took. As Anderson now three ball, just a bit short. Both teams unable to connect from downtown. Pace slows. Just over 8 minutes remaining as Milligan takes the ball across the midcourt stripe for Dallas-Fort Worth. Eldridge met down the perimeter by Kay, drops it down to Ransom on the right block. Ransom, here's a skip pass over to Dade for three, no good. Tries to get his own miss, ball is still loose and on the floor. Ransom again is on the ground. It looks like he might have beaten McElway to the spot. Instead, they do call a jump ball. Both big men getting on the floor. I mean, Ransom, this is I think the third time we've seen Ransom dive after a loose ball. As him and McElway will go to center court to try to determine who actually completes the win of this possession. Ransom looked like he was walking towards the bench, but unable to do that because he's got to do the jump ball, and that's an easy 2 points for Keonta Watkins. His first 2 points of the game. Largest lead of the evening for Dallas-Fort Worth. McElway looks like he tried to throw it down. Couldn't quite finish the stuff. And it's Dallas-Fort Worth with a 20-point lead. That ball poked loose by Dyron Anderson, handled by Stevie K. Over to Anderson. Anderson lays it up and in what feels like an endless run from Just Hoops. Lead is still 18 for Dallas-Fort Worth, 37-19. 7:13 remaining in the first half. Watkins on the right wing, drops it down to Ransom, working on McElway. Back over to Watkins. Dribbles it back out. Milligan with the screen. Splits the double team, does Watkins. Beautiful scoop, there it is. Watkins with 4 points. Nifty bit of work in the paint. And there's a 3-ball corner pocket that goes from Dyron Anderson. He finally gets one to go. Still a lot of work to do. Dallas-Fort Worth with a big advantage, and Milligan, he answers with a step-back 3 of his own. Scoreboard reads 41-22 in favor of Just Hoops. And we've got a timeout as BLTN looks to try to slow down this Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops squad, who is firing on all cylinders offensively. As you are tuned in to Triangle by 1891 as you're catching this PBA action. 42-22, 20-point lead for Just Hoops as they are in firm control. As we are resuming back to action. Again, we've seen DK Eldridge doing work offensively for Just Hoops. Both teams with a couple substitutions. Inbound goes to Williams as the Ballers look to cut down this 20-point deficit. Williams being harassed by Watkins. It's finally poked loose. McElway able to gather the loose ball. Anderson into the paint, drops it off to Williams, who stuffs it home with one hand. Beautiful drop-off pass by Anderson. 18-point lead for Just Hoops. The Ballers are still battling in this one. Eldridge got the mismatch. Eldridge pulls for 3. That one off the mark. Rebound goes to Williams. Ballers push the pace. Bad turnover from Williams. Eldridge with the steal. Dade finds Watkins. Watkins decides to drive into the lane, and a scoop high off the glass. Another nifty right-handed scoop from Watkins, who's got 6 points, and the lead swells back to 20. The Ballers have a lot of work to do. Eldridge picks Williams' pocket, decides to throw it off the glass, and unable to dunk it home. And unfortunately, that would make the Sports Center not top 10, but Eldridge nearly completed that. Stevie K steps into a left wing 3, unable to connect. Eldridge all smiles. Some of his teammates dabbing him up a little bit. Can't blame him for trying. Everything else has worked tonight for Eldridge. Why not try an alley-oop off the glass to yourself? Couple substitutions for the Ballers. Joshua Swearingen checks in, number 20, for his first bit of action with 5:12 remaining in the first half. Inbound goes to Anderson. Met by Watkins on the left wing. Dribbles it back out. High pick and roll set to McElway. McElway picks up his dribble. Ball finds its way back to the left corner. Anderson on the drive. No good. Rebound. And the putback put home by Spencer McElway. That trims the deficit down to 18 points, but right back to 20 because Eldridge just cannot miss outside of missing his own alley-oops. Lead swells back to 20. He's got 16 points. And the outlet pass goes all the way up to Daniel Williams, who's unable to complete what could have been a 3-point play opportunity. Instead, he'll go to the line to shoot a pair, and Daniel Williams had a pretty quality outing last time against this Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops squad. 17 points to go with 6 boards. So far, he's got 6 points, and that'll make it 7 right there, and he'll have 1 more. As the lead is trimmed down to 19, and so far, that's where this deficit has hovered right around the 18 to 20 point mark as Williams goes 2 for 2 from the line. He's got 8 points. 18-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth as Eldridge, the leading scorer, goes to work on Williams. Now swings it back over to Watkins. Top of the key. Steps into a 3-ball, and boy, Watkins has got it going offensively off the bench. 9 points off the bench for Watkins. And the lead is the largest of the game at 21 points. 3-pointer no good. Put back off the mark. Eldridge gathers the board. Watkins He pulls from downtown again, no good. Eldridge tries to get an extra possession. Instead, it's Williams. Outlet pass to McElway. McElway tries to go with a Euro step, gets his own miss, and a big boy bucket through contact. Count the bucket and the foul. Catches himself a mouse in the house if they give him the continuation. Spencer McElway, there's a reason why he was able to clean the glass to the tune of 17 boards in the meeting between these squads. Unfortunately, that does not count. They called it on the floor as Swearingen unable to get his elbow jumper to go. Ball is saved, but unfortunately right to the newly checked in Eddie Sims, who's back on the court. Swearingen with the steal, up to McElway, and a two-handed punch as McElway now is to 9 points. Lead is back to 19. Still comfortable, though, for Dallas Fort Worth as Eldridge working on Williams. Mid-range jumper, no good. McElway snares the board. Ballers trying to make a run. Williams, open three, no good. Swearingen able to get an extra possession. Swearingen tries to go into the body of Sims, no good. Williams gets an extra possession. And really, the offensive glass is keeping the Ballers in this contest. Lead is back down to 17 for Dallas Fort Worth. Sims says, you give me that type of space, I'll take it. His three ball rattles in and out. Eldridge nearly comes up with the steal. Instead, comes up with a loose ball foul against Swearingen. Possession will stay with the Ballers. And Swearingen has just checked in, but boy, he is making an instant impact, and he did the same exact thing in these two teams' previous matchup. He did record 11 points off the bench, and they have a lot of work to do, but he's certainly given them a spark. Derek Williams, his three-pointer is no good. Rebound brought in by Jason Humphrey, who checked back in after originally starting the contest. Watkins dribbles it back out, waiting for a screen from Cedric Harris. Harris steps out to the right wing. His three ball no good. Humphrey with a rebound gets an extra possession, and a nice lefty layup there from Cedric Harris through contact. And the lead swells back to 19. Swearingen goes right at the newly checked in Cedric Harris and does get the whistle. Cedric Harris was fantastic back when these two teams met in the previous matchup. Been a little bit more quiet offensively in this contest until that recent bucket, but Swearingen, his first free throw won't go. He'll have one more opportunity to try to cut this deficit down to 18 points as Watkins checks out after some quality minutes. Cedric Webb checks in for Dallas Fort Worth, and it looks like we're going to have a quick timeout. 2:16 remaining, and it's Dallas Fort Worth just hoops with a 19-point lead over the BLTN Ballers. Here on Triangle by 1891. We'll stay right here with you, and as mentioned before, the Ballers, a little bit of a mixed bag of results so far. Fort Worth Firm put it on them with a 20-point loss, but outside of that, it was a 1-point loss to this Just Hoops squad. But their other two games, pretty convincing wins. A 20-point victory over the Plainview Knights and a 6-point win over the Oklahoma Kings. Well, Just Hoops, their only win of the season is so far against this Baller squad in overtime dramatic fashion. As Swearingen gets his second free throw to go, 18-point lead right around the 2-minute mark. And boy, that worked out well. That's exactly how you draw it up. Jason Humphrey, a little out of control. His shot was off the glass hard enough to where Harris could follow it up and lay it up and in. A miss on the other end from the Ballers, and here comes Just Hoops. A corner three, and boy, everything is falling in the first half for Mr. DK Eldridge. That's 19 points to lead all scorers in the first half. 23-point lead for Dallas Fort Worth. Anderson stripped by Eldridge, gets his own back. Swearingen swings it over, and it looks like there's going to be a blocking foul on Jason Humphrey. Boy, DK Eldridge red hot in the first half. 23-point lead and 19 of them coming from DK Eldridge. Going to the line is going to be Dyron Anderson, who did a little bit of everything in the previous matchup between these two squads. 15 points, 6 boards, 3 assists to go along with 3 steals as Mr. Anderson knocks down the first of his 2 free throws. He'll try to make this a 21-point game to match his jersey number, and does, knocking down both free throws. 21-point advantage for Dallas-Fort Worth with 90 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Sims. Beautiful bounce pass to a cutting Jason Humphrey, but it looked like he was stripped on his way to the cup. And unfortunately, that strip results in what they're going to call a reach-in foul from the newly checked-in Robert Williams for the Ballers. Called on the floor, and it'll be Eddie Sims who will inbound for Dallas-Fort Worth. And like I previously mentioned, Dallas-Fort Worth snapped their 2-game losing streak against this Baller squad after losing to Metroplex Lightning and Fort Worth Firm. Milligan at the top of the key. Swings it over to the left wing. Sims down to Humphrey. And Humphrey saw the mismatch against the newly checked in Robert Williams and decided to square him up and drive into the lane, and blocking foul on Williams. And we'll do it all again along the sideline, the bottom of your screen. So Williams trying to get an explanation of exactly how he committed a blocking foul, and unfortunately for the Ballers, their problems are compounded by the fact that they're now in the penalty, and Humphrey comes up empty on his first free throw attempt. He will have one more with 1:07 remaining and a 21-point lead for Just Hoops. Humphrey comes up empty, 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Rebound snared by Williams, and here comes Dyron Anderson. Anderson going right at Humphrey. Able to draw the foul on Humphrey, and Anderson will go to the line for a second straight offensive possession. Went 2 for 2 from the line on his first trip, and we'll see if Anderson can get this back, their deficit back down below 20 points. Anderson knocks down the first free throw. He's 3 for 3 from the line in the first half. 20-point game. Humphrey, after a couple minutes and coming up empty at the free throw line and a foul on the other end, checks it back out. Ransom checks back in. 4 for 4 from the free throw line is Dyron Anderson, and it's a 19-point game in the final minute of action here in the first half. Just Hoops with possession. Ransom decides, I'll go ahead and let this one go from downtown. No good. Williams with the rebound. It's the Ballers with numbers, and a beautiful bit of ball movement. Swearingen finds Williams right at the cup. 8 points for Williams. 17-point lead now for Just Hoops, and Deeds follow up, no good, but a steal and an extra possession now for Dallas-Fort Worth. Corner 3 from Cedric Webb is no good. Williams with the rebound. Anderson going right at Ransom and lays it up and in with the left hand. He's got the last 6 points for the Ballers. Now it's a 15-point game, 6-0 run from BLTN. Final 10 seconds of the first half. Milligan will save for the last shot. Milligan working on Williams. Pull-up jumper, no good. And the extra possession from Webb to no avail. Shot. The clock expires, and that'll do it for the first half of action. 15-point lead for the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops over the BLTN Ballers here on Triangle by 1891.
When I came home from prison in 2001, I had a tough time finding a job. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? When you get to that part of the application, your heart starts beating fast, your hands become sweaty. It doesn't matter your education or work experience. That's gonna be the determining factor.
What's up, man?
What's up with you?
Nothing, man.
How you get it, man?
Regular military, I'm on side.
I would fill out an application and they tell me that they're not hiring, but they got now hiring signs on the window.
Did that make you go back to doing some of the things that you were doing before?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they force you to.
Set up. Right?
It's like set up. It's systematically set up for you to have to go back. I was 3 years old when the U.S. Marshals came, beat down the door, and got my dad. Maybe like 5 the second time. I just kept asking my mom, like, yo, where's my dad? Where's he at? He would tell my grandmother, I'm not trying to do that no more. I'm trying to get my life right.
What up, boy? What's up with you, boy? Good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Being a barber changed my dad. Being able to have a community that he can turn to when he needed something, that helped him a lot.
That was a hard moment for me last year.
All those ups and downs that you've been through, to look at you now, I'm so proud of you. I'm happy to call you my dad, man.
What you just said right there is what it was all about. Everything that I've done was for that. Now I can retire. So I can retire now. Old man still got it.
Ooh, now that look good, man.
Welcome back to some PBA action here on Triangle by 1891. I'm Derek Tate alongside myself. And if you're tuning in, well, you missed a heck of a first half because both teams started off red hot from the field. But it was DK Eldridge who led all scorers with 19 points, and it's a 15-point lead for the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops over the BLTN Ballers to start the third quarter of action. And it's the Ballers who are compounding their problem, turning it over on their opening possession of the second half. On the court for Just Hoops, Jonathan Milligan, DK Eldridge, Javis Dade, Eddie Sims, and William Ransom. And that's Sims who leads Javis Dade right to the cup. An easy 2 points and a 17-point lead now for Dallas-Fort Worth. As the Ballers have their work cut out for them. Williams, wide open three. A little off the mark, a little short. Dade comes up with the board. Outlet pass goes to Aldridge. Check that, Eldridge, my apologies. Eldridge, ISO'd up on Stevie K. His three-pointer a little off the mark. Ballers snare the board and push the pace. Williams, runner. Excuse me, that's Stevie K. OKKK, he gets that one to go. Lead is trimmed down to 15 points for Dallas-Fort Worth. Milligan brings it across the midcourt stripe. Working on K at the top of the key. Pull-up jumper, got it. Jonathan Milligan finally getting it going from the field. 17-point lead now again for Dallas-Fort Worth. McElway, his three-pointer no good. Rebound goes to Ransom, and the big fella decides to push the pace. Finds Eldridge. And Dallas-Fort Worth slows it. K deciding to meet him all the way near the midcourt stripe. Eldridge trying to work through contact and draws the foul on Stevie K. And it's quite apparent one of the halftime adjustments for the BLTN Ballers is to go ahead and pressure DK Eldridge whenever he touches the basketball. And well, so far, not so good as Eldridge is able to draw the foul and knock down his first free throw. He now has 20 points, make it 21 to lead all scorers, and the lead swells back up to 19 points for Just Hoops. BLTN has McElway on the floor, and the big fella decides to go right at William Ransom, but an offensive foul, and that's just the way the things have gone so far for the BLTN Ballers. William Ransom has done a little bit of the little things on the court, diving on the ground for loose ball, drawing charges, getting extra possessions with offensive rebounding, a little bit of everything from William Ransom. 19-point lead, 62-43, near the 8-minute mark as Milligan is working on Stevie K, and it's another mid-range jumper, and the shooter's touch kindly rewards Milligan for getting his own shot. 21-point lead as Stevie K tries to answer with a three of his own. No good. Eldridge snares the board. Dallas-Fort Worth can make it their largest lead of the game if they're able to come up with a bucket from the field. Eddie Sims, gorgeous-looking step-back jumper. Whew. Eddie Sims now in double digits with 11 points. And it's a timeout from BLTN as the Ballers now trail by the highest amount of the game, 23 points, with 7:35 remaining in the third period. And the Ballers have to start finding more answers than questions if they want to start to make this a competitive contest down the stretch with only 17 minutes remaining in the game. We resume action here on Triangle by 1891. Anderson with the ball on the left wing against Eldridge. Now swings it back to the top of the key. Pass is mishandled by both teams. This one, Eddie Sims unable to finish the 2-on-1 opportunity, and the ball finds its way to Stevie K. Three ball just off the mark from the left wing. Outlet goes to Sims, who will slow it down. Back out to Dade, to Milligan. Swings it over to the right wing. Eldridge thinks about pulling from 5 feet behind the three-point line. Ransom tries to go to the reverse layup. That one is denied at the rack. Loose ball finds its way back to Sims, and that's bottoms from the left wing. Eddie Sims with 14 points. And Dallas-Fort Worth now with a 26-point lead, as finally it's Spencer McElway who's able to stop the opening run here in the third quarter from Just Hoops. 6 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 24-point lead for Just Hoops. Eldridge has his pocket picked from Spencer McElway, and that's an easy one-handed stuff. McElway into double digits, leading the way so far for the Ballers. They still have their work cut out for him. 22-point deficit, and Eldridge aims to make it 25. His corner three is no good. Ball is poked loose by Sims, and it might have gone off McElway, gaining an extra possession for Dallas-Fort Worth. Easily one of the best offensive outings of the season for Just Hoops. Seems like everybody has been able to get it going on the offensive end. A little bit of conversation amongst the referees of the PBA, who do such a fantastic job, as both Milligan and McElway decide to go ahead and take a water break at the top of your screen. And look, you got to make the most of every moment that the referees are taking their time to go ahead and get this situated. I've actually seen a couple of players pull out the mop themselves to go ahead and dry up the floor. Everybody pitching in here on the PBA. It's a fantastic bit of action here on Triangle by 1891. We are getting some clarification from the referees. Exactly what transpired. It does look like the Ballers are going to retain possession. And they have a lot of work to do, down by 22, 69-47, just under the 6-minute mark. Dyron Anderson kicks it back out to Williams. Williams, here's a three ball, corner pocket from Anderson. That one rattles in and out. Milligan snares the board. Dallas-Fort Worth has blown this game open since the midpoint of the second quarter, and it's William Ransom catches himself a mouse in the house, but a beautiful bit of defense from Daniel Williams denies Ransom right at the cup. Can't do it any better than that. They're going to need a lot more defensive stops if they want to get back in this. And it's TJ Williams able to penetrate and kick and finds a wide open Stevie K with a 3-ball corner pocket that goes. And the lead is back down to 19 for Dallas-Fort Worth. Eldridge's three-pointer doesn't go. Dade gets an extra look at it, gets another look at it, trying to go up amongst 3 different Ballers defenders. Another offensive rebound from Dade. And finally, someone was able to deny Javis Dade from going back up, doing a lot of work on the offensive paint. And checking in for the first time is number 24 champ Grayson for Just Hoops. And after all that, Dallas-Fort Worth now with its 4th opportunity on this possession alone to try to find the bottom of the basket. Eldridge, left wing, working against Stevie K. Cross-court pass over to Eddie Sims. Sims, step back 3. No good. K with a full-court pass up to Williams. TJ Williams denied, sent back from Eddie Sims. Loose ball finds its way to Derek Williams, and there's a foul on the floor. Boy, what an effort from Eddie Sims getting back defensively. It's actually the 2nd block of the game from Eddie Sims. Impressive bit of effort on the defensive end as Sims has got 14 points and 2 blocks and a couple of steals.
What happens when everything we know about something changes?
I tell people all the time, this is the best American story you never heard.
We're out hitting the pavement, talking to restaurants, talking to bars.
I don't think of myself as a whiskey salesperson. I want you to know his name.
Drink by drink, we're bringing this story to light.
When we have to step back through the pages of history.
It's so much more than whiskey. It's so much more than a brand. It's a movement.
When we have to make amends and pay respect.
We're honoring the greatest whiskey maker the world never knew. And it's beautiful.
And give credit where credit is due.
Uncle Nearest is the godfather of Tennessee whiskey, and the world needs to know it.
What happens? We do it. Uncle Nearest, it's more than whiskey.
(72-50), 4:30 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Dallas-Fort Worth comfortably on top of the BLTN Ballers, and if Just Hoops are able to keep it up and protect this 22-point advantage, they would improve to 2-2 on the season, while the Ballers would drop back below 500. But we got plenty of basketball left to play, and the Ballers with possession. 4:30, trailing by 22. Inbound pass goes to Cortland Walton. And it's Eddie Sims with yet another steal, but turns it right back over. Joshua Swearingen getting back on the defensive end. Swearingen finds a wide open Daniel Williams. Easy two-handed stuff right at the cup. He's in double digits. 20-point lead now for Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops as Milligan's pass is tipped out of bounds by Swearingen, but Just Hoops retains possession. Here's a mid-range jumper. Yes, sir. Jonathan Milligan getting it going from the mid-range. 22-point lead now for Dallas-Fort Worth. The Ballers setting up a screen. Derek Williams swings it now down to Daniel Williams. Finds Derek Williams, who pulls from distance. My goodness. Derek Williams from about 5 feet behind the three-point line makes it a 19-point game. 3:30 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Eldridge on the left wing, working against Derek Williams. Spins baseline, fadeaway jumper. No good, but they're going to say that Williams may have hacked Mr. DK Eldridge. who is slowed down. He was on pace for a 38-point contest. He's only got 2 points here in the second half. But Eldridge will look to add to his 21-point total. He's been perfect tonight from the free throw line, and there's the old announcer's jinx as Eldridge comes up short on his first free throw offering, but does have one more. 3:21 remaining, 19-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. And Eldridge now improves his point total to 22 on the game. And it's a 20-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. As Derek Williams, a little pull-up jumper from the free throw line. That one finds the bottom of the net. 18-point advantage now for Dallas-Fort Worth. Eldridge working off a screen from Grayson. Now he's ISO'd up on Williams. Eldridge pulls from downtown, rattles in and out. And it looks like Grayson is not happy with Joshua Swearingen. Felt like he was potentially pushed while trying to rise up to grab the offensive board. And Swearingen and Grayson are still chirping at each other. It looks like there is going to be a technical foul on Joshua Swearingen. And with like any athletic competition, sometimes those competitive juices lead to a little bit of heated exchanges as Champ Grayson is now on the board, knocking down his technical free throw. Him and Swearingen are still having some words amongst each other. I'm sure it's something we could put the microphone in front of them and we wouldn't get blanked out for anything. Anyway, action resumes. 21-point lead. Well, 19-point lead, but now make it 21 points as Javis Dade's runner goes. The Ballers running out of time to find answers. Derek Williams into the lane, able to knife through that Just Hoops defense and does get the bucket. It could be a three-point play here and sorely needed for this Baller squad. As mentioned before, Derek Williams had a chance to personally hand the Ballers a win against this Just Hoop squad as he does convert on the three-point play opportunity. And there's a steal from Joshua Swearingen on the inbound from Grayson. An easy 2 points, and all of a sudden it's a 5-0 run. And the lead is down to 16 for Dallas-Fort Worth. All of a sudden, the defensive pressure has now been ratcheted up. And we'll see if the Ballers can generate some sort of run to close the third quarter. And nearly a steal off the inbound pass is DK Eldridge. Here's a skip pass over to the corner and no good from Watkins. Watkins a little up and under move. Eldridge gets the offensive glass, hits the offensive glass, gets the rebound, goes back up, puts in the bucket and the foul as DK Eldridge now has 24 points on the game. And just when it looked like the Ballers were starting to make a run, guess who decided to put an end to that? It's DK Eldridge who answers with a three-point play of his own. Lead is now back up to 19 points for Just Hoops. 2-minute mark remaining in the third quarter. Walton into the lane. Walton. Nifty little finger roll. Walton's on the board now with 2 points in the game. Lead is down to 17 for Just Hoops as Eldridge is working against Swearingen on the right wing. Grayson sets the screen over to Milligan on the left wing. Milligan, fadeaway jumper, no good. Eldridge, his putback is no good. Derek Williams with the board and pushes the pace for the Ballers. Williams looks to go coast to coast. And Grayson with a hard foul, and there's maybe a discussion. No, it looks like they're just going to call that one a good, hard, clean foul. We'll throw back to 90s basketball. If you're going to take it into the paint, you might wind up on the floor. Williams, his first free throw is good. As mentioned before, Derek Williams had a chance to improve single-handedly this Baller squad to 3-1 on the season. He was unable to come up with a buzzer beater against this squad in overtime as he goes 2 of 2 from the line. Lead is now down to 16 for Dallas-Fort Worth. Grayson brings it across midcourt. 1:10 remaining in the third quarter. Eldridge, spin move, into the paint. Can't quite get it to go. Grayson skies for the board. Goes up strong and looks like he's going to go ahead and go to the line for a second time tonight. And Champ Grayson has come in and made his presence felt. Third offensive rebound already for Champ Grayson. He did knock down his technical free throw earlier in the quarter. This one touches every part of the rim before jumping out of the basket. He'll have one more opportunity to swell this lead back to 16. Instead, he comes up empty, 0 for 2 from the line. And for the first time in a while, the Ballers could get this down to a 12 or 13 point game, and they call the number of Spencer McElway. He is capable of working through some body contact of Jonathan Milligan, and he'll go to the line to shoot a pair. Spencer McElway got off to a fast start in the game, going 3 for 3 from the field, but has been mostly quiet since his fast start in the first quarter. As McElway comes up a bit short on his first free throw, but he does have one more opportunity to get this down to 14 points as the Ballers have been chipping away at a lead that was all the way up to 26 points. I'm not sure he called glass, but McElway does get the second one to go, and it is a 14-point lead now for Dallas-Fort Worth. Eldridge spins into the paint and answers with an easy bucket. He's got 26 points to lead all scorers. Final 35 seconds. TJ Williams dismisses one defender and leads Swearingen right to the cup. Quick answer from the Ballers. Final 30 seconds of the third period. Pass is tipped from Milligan, handled by Grayson. Grayson finds Eldridge. Eldridge up and under, can't quite get the reverse layup to go. Rebound goes to Williams, and Grayson. Little body bump with Derek Williams. And we'll find out if Just Hoops are in the penalty. Either way, the way that the Ballers have finished this third quarter, remember, this was a 16 or 26-point lead at one point in the third quarter. Yet, we're in the final 8 seconds, and Derek Williams can make this an 11 or 12-point game. Final 2 seconds. Williams, up fake at the buzzer. Just a little off the mark as we're going to head to the fourth and final quarter. Between these two squads, it's a 14-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops over the BLTN Ballers. Do not miss the final quarter of action here on Triangle by 1891.
You see, black people have always needed a place to gather since the beginning of time. To build, to reflect, to inspire, to connect. They say if you want to go fast, then go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. See, in continuing to fight for our lives to matter, we must have a place to gather. To write a chapter, enjoy the laughter, think and capture, sharpen our skills until they master. Not only a place to fraternize, but to strategize and analyze and advertise and sometimes just fantasize. See, there's a certain brilliance that only comes from the collective. One for all and all for one is the objective. You get the message. See, we've always needed a place for like minds to collide and unlike minds to gain a better understanding of the other side. You know the vibe. You may want to switch lanes and you need a place to pick brains and network with big names. The level up is insane. The true meaning of for us, by us, with us, grown by us, stories told by us, shown by us, loaned by us, so it's always owned by us. Somebody better write a song about us. We all we got. We all we got. So meet me down at the gathering spot.
Fourth and final quarter of action here on Triangle by 1891. I'm Derek Tate, and it's Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops. We have a 14-point lead heading into the fourth and final quarter, but it was actually a 12-point run to close the third quarter from the BLT Ballers, who were trailing by 26 at one point. We now have this within striking range. They still have a lot of work to do, but an impressive finish now has this one feeling like we could have a close finish that resembled their first matchup earlier this season. Check back into the game as Jason Humphrey puts the ball on the floor, and it looks like he will go to the line for the first time this evening. As Jason Humphrey in their first matchup between these two squads, it was Humphrey who finished with 6 points, 2 boards, and 4 assists. As Humphrey knocks down his first free throw, lead swells back up to 15 points. He'll have one more. Humphrey goes 2 of 2 from the line. 16-point lead now for Dallas-Fort Worth. But the Ballers refuse to go quietly. Speaking of going quietly, my goodness, what an up and under move from Cortland Walton. He has 4 points. A quick answer, and the lead is back down to 14 for Just Hoops. Milligan, in and out dribble. Top of the key, now swings it over to Eddie Sims. Sims with a three-pointer that's way short. TJ Williams skies for the rebound, and here come the Ballers. Williams over to an open Derek Williams, who knocks it in from downtown. And it's an 11-point game, the lowest lead since the midpoint of the second quarter for Dallas-Fort Worth. Sims, step back on the baseline. Yes, sir. Beautiful looking move from Eddie Sims. He's got 16 points. It's been him and Eldridge doing most of the heavy lifting offensively for Dallas-Fort Worth. Lead swells back up to 13. McElway working on Humphrey. No good. But on the offensive glass, again, it's Swearingen who's been camping down there in the paint and able to garner multiple extra possessions for the Ballers, and this one might come in handy. They're going to say this foul was on the floor, so Swearingen will not go to the line, but the Ballers do retain possession. Inbound goes to TJ Williams. Williams over to Derek Williams. Williams no good. Swearingen nearly able to put home the errant shot. He comes up empty. Grayson looked like he was a little out of control, and certainly the Ballers are not happy about that call, and in particular, Cortland Walton gets up and says, I was established defensively in position. Grayson ran into me, but it was a bang-bang play that goes in the favor of Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops, and Grayson appears that he may be shooting his 4th and 5th free throws of the evening. Instead, does look like the appeal to the referees is at least going to keep Grayson off the line. They call that one on the floor. 13-point lead, 8:18 remaining in the game. DK Eldridge working on Walton. Walton pokes it free. Eldridge able to gain the loose ball again, and there is going to be a foul on the floor. Actually, check that. That was TJ Williams who was trying to check Eldridge defensively. First poke was clean, second one was not. 8:07 remaining, 13-point lead for Just Hoops. Milligan. Over to Sims. Sims into the paint. Sims is stripped. McElway with the steal. Swearingen, full court, goes up into Grayson. Another foul on Champ Grayson. If there's one thing we've learned about Champ Grayson from this contest, he's going to make you earn your points from the free throw line. Another good Hard, clean foul, making Swearingen go to the line and earn them. Second trip to the line of the night for Swearingen. Comes up empty on his first attempt. Does have one more. We got a 13-point ball game in favor of Just Hoops. Goes 1 of 2 of the line, does Joshua Swearingen. It's now a 12-point game. DK Eldridge going right at McElway. And he does get the whistle. And Swearingen letting Eldridge know he did not like the call, and I'm not really sure DK Eldridge really needs the approval of Swearingen whether or not that was a foul, as Eldridge rattles in and out on his first free throw attempt. He does lead all scorers with 26 points. Eldridge goes 1 of 2 at the line. Lead swells back to 13. 7:45 remaining in the contest. Derek Williams brings the ball across the midcourt stripe. Williams into the paint. And it looks like there's going to be a foul on the floor, and it's unfortunate because TJ Williams was able to knock down that corner three after the whistle had already blown. Possession will stay with the BLNT Ballers. Walton will inbound. Again, we had at one point in the third quarter, around the 5-minute mark, this was a 26-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. Walton, right wing, Swearingen, catch and shoot three, yes sir! It is now a 10-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. The Ballers clawing their way back into this game. Sims goes right at McElway, and boy, what a bucket there. 18 points for Eddie Sims. Lead now swells back to 12. May have been a travel of some sorts on the Ballers. So right when they got this down to 10 points, a bucket from Sims and a turnover, and all of a sudden this lead could swell right back around to 15. We're under 7 minutes remaining. Milligan on the right wing. Williams trying to bother him defensively, and a beautiful up and under move from Jonathan Milligan, who's now in double digits. 14-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. Derek Williams drives baseline, drops it off to Williams. Now, I apologize if I keep saying Williams for the BLNT Ballers, because there's 3 Williams on the court at the current moment. And it's Daniel Williams who will go to the line to shoot a pair. He's got 11 points on the game. Comes up empty on his first free throw attempt. Jonathan Milligan even giving Daniel Williams a quick high five in between his 2 free throw attempts. He does go 1 of 2 at the line. 13-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. 6:34 and counting remaining in the contest, as DK Eldridge blows right by his defender. Outlet pass nearly stolen, but Cortland Walton gathers the loose ball. Walton kicks it over to Anderson, over to Williams. Williams up and under move. Lead is now back down to 11 as Derek Williams is into double digits. The Ballers refusing to go away in this game, as Eddie Sims is at the top of the key working on Anderson. Walton trapped in the corner. Back out to Sims. Sims' pass is tipped and stolen by Williams. Walton handles the loose ball. Williams up fake drive. Unable to get the bunny to go back in the basket. A break for Dallas-Fort Worth. Sims, oh, beautiful crossover move. He can't get the bunny to go. Unfortunately, DK Eldridge puts a stop to all of the missed layups. He's got 28 points, and the lead swells back up to 13. A missed opportunity for the Ballers to get this down to a single-digit lead. Williams, his corner three no good. Milligan able to gobble up his 6th rebound of the night is what I've got it. As Eldridge is working on Williams with just over 5 minutes remaining in a 13-point lead. Eldridge pulls from downtown. Yes, sir! DK Eldridge, 31 points on the evening. And Dallas-Fort Worth now leads by 16. TJ Williams able to beat Sims off the dribble and goes right at Dade and finishes through contact. A quick bucket makes it only a 14-point deficit, but BLTN needs to start coming up with stops. Sims, fadeaway jumper, no good. Eldridge with the follow. Big boy bucket, 33 points for DK Eldridge. He's been unstoppable in this game. Walton pulls from downtown, no good. Milligan with the board. He's gonna try to slow down the pace as it's now an 18-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. Watkins nearly has his pocket picked instead. I'm gonna say that Walton reached in. 4:02 remaining in the game, and we have a timeout. Things got interesting there for a couple moments. A 26-point lead was trimmed all the way down to 10. But it does seem as if Just Hoops has weathered the run from the Ballers. They have possession and a 16-point lead with 4 minutes and counting. Watkins pulls from downtown, that one a little short. Outlet pass goes to Walton. Walton, drop off pass to Williams, and he gets that one to go through traffic. Lead is back down to 14 for Dallas-Fort Worth, as Jonathan Milligan will try to slow down the pace and bleed the clock. Milligan finds an open Dade for 3. That one hits nothing, but Dade gets his own miss. Finds Watkins. Watkins thinks about a corner 3. Instead goes to the up and under. No good. And the loose ball is just off the foot of Watkins, which means in an unconventional fashion, the Ballers did get a stop. And now they are running out of time, and they got to start to cut into this 14-point deficit. McElway going against Dade, and that's an easy 2 points. A quick 2 points for the Ballers. Lead is down to 12. DK Eldridge leads all scorers with 33 points. He's met by Swearingen out near the midcourt stripe. Ball finds its way to Eddie Sims. Sims working on Anderson. Over to Watkins. Back to Sims. Sims running out of shot clock. Toughly contested shot there from Anderson. And it's a bad offensive possession for Dallas-Fort Worth. Good defense from Anderson. It will appear, even though we're going to have a little bit of a discussion, it seems as if Just Hoops will retain possession. A little bit of confusion. Unfortunately, I don't have the answers either. Perhaps an unsportsmanlike conduct of sorts or a timeout. And we're right back at it. 12-point lead for Dallas-Fort Worth. They still have possession as Watkins is working on Anderson. Sims lets a 3-ball go, and a late foul call. The ball was clearly released, but was McElway who got Sims on the body after the release. And what is probably a costly 3 free throws on the way for the Ballers, as Sims does knock down his first. He's got 17 points. Eddie Sims, remember, led this Just Hoops squad with 21 points in their first outing in the 1-point overtime win, as he's now looking to go 3 of 3 from the line, and does. 3 clutch free throws, and it's an uphill battle for the Ballers with 2:24 remaining in a 15-point deficit. Swearingen out to Walton. Walton going baseline, shut down by Sims. Anderson pulls from downtown, no good. Off the back iron, Dade grabs the board. Watkins brings it across the midcourt stripe. Drops it off to Dade. Dade up and under. Dade's got 8 points. And now it's a 17-point lead with 2 minutes remaining. And that bucket might have salted it away. Williams tries to go up amongst 3 Just Hoops defenders. I believe it was Milligan who was able to poke that free. Swearingen with a corner 3, no good. McElway with the extra possession for the Ballers. McElway driving baseline. Can't quite put home the one-handed stuff, but Swearingen somehow tips that one up and in. Only a 15-point lead, just about 90 seconds remaining in the game. Sims does make it across midcourt. Sims trying to dribble out the clock. Pestered by Swearingen. Now he wants to ISO him up. Over to Watkins. Now to Dade. Up fake. Dade rises up and throws it down. Dade now in double digits. And that ought to do it for the competitive aspect of this game, unless the Ballers get hot from downtown. Now a turnover, and DK Eldridge, this time able to alley-whoopsie to himself. 35 points for DK Eldridge. A masterpiece of a performance. And what is likely to help the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops squad improve to 500 on the season. And you know, DK Eldridge, after making the blooper reel on his first self alley-oop attempt in the first half as Swearingen knocks down the first free throw attempt, you know he was probably looking for an opportunity to make amends. And boy, has that young man done so with 35 points in this contest, and puts the exclamation point or the cherry on top of his masterpiece of a performance in this contest. 17-point lead in the closing moments as Kenyatta Watkins, his three-pointer rattles in and out. And the BLTN Ballers will drop to 2-3 on the season, as that was TJ Williams laying it up and in the final 20 seconds. Eddie Sims says, why not? Dade gets the offensive rebound, excuse me. Unable to lay it back up and in. Final 10 seconds. McElway finds an open Swearingen from downtown. No good. Walton with the offensive board, excuse me. And McElway will put up the final 2 points, and you don't want to see that as Swearingen's holding his knee at the conclusion of this contest. Looked like he may have came down a bit awkwardly, and we'll see if that is the final bit of action here. If it is, it's the Dallas-Fort Worth Just Hoops squad who will improve to 2-2 on the season, while the BLNT Ballers will drop to 2-3 by a final score of 108-94. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of PBA Basketball on Triangle by 1891. I'm Derek Tate, and till next time, later, says the Tater.